Hello guys, and it seems like all of us were really good boys and girls, and that is why we receive a lot of presents at the end of the year. And all of them take form of various Russia's failures. All good people on this planet agree that Russia must be defeated and demilitarized, but some still have doubts if it is possible. So here I will give you a list of Russian failures in just 1 week to persuade those who still doubt it is not just possible, it is already happening. Russia is collapsing. Because just this week, they have lost 2 ships they needed to evacuate people from Syria, where they also lost their influence and military bases. Totally unprofessional, violent Russian air defense downed another civilian aircraft, and I hope that President of Azerbaijan will not forgive Putin this deadly mistake. Ukrainian drones, Storm Shadow missiles, and HIMARS neutralized 3 Russian Shahed drone hubs, with lots of evil instruments of war turned into ashes. We set on fire their oil and gas refining factory in Volgograd, destroyed a convoy on the front lines, neutralized 3 Russian top officials, military officials in Zaporizhia region with a precise HIMARS strike, and also neutralized another command point in Kursk. More and more Russians realize that the size of their losses is incomparable to small territorial gains, and they actually start revolts against their commanders. Lots of Russian soldiers actually disagreed to try an offensive on Kherson and destroyed their speedboats. Well, not because they are good or against the war, but because they are realized they have no chances to survive. And I hope that actually more and more of the Russian soldiers and now North Korean soldiers will get this idea. So let's discuss all of the most important events and how Russia still continues to distort life on this planet in our weekly update. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the demilitarization and defeat of Russia, Kremlin on fire, and protect yourself against the hybrid warfare, subscribe. We discuss all of that on the channel. And let's start with Russian ships, because for me it's one of the symbols of Russian failure and weakness. You know, we have destroyed their Black Sea fleet. We have turned many of their warships to underwater scrap metal, but most importantly, they have troubles in other parts of the world, and specifically in the Mediterranean. Russia wanted to evacuate their soldiers and equipment from Syria, a kind reminder they have lost control over this country, thank God, and now retreat. And they wanted to evacuate people with the help of Ursa Major and Sparta ships. So Sparta is still drifting somewhere in the Mediterranean, and serious destructions, explosions on board of Ursa Major led to its sinking, and now it is underwater scrap metal, but in the Mediterranean. What is also interesting, I've read a number of articles which actually question what happened on board of this ship that was supposed to evacuate equipment, and that potentially maybe some smart special agent groups are already working to destroy Russia's fleet, and particularly Russian shadow fleet, that causes lots of troubles, not just for ecology, not just undermining sanctions and fueling Russian war economy, but now with underwater cables in the Baltic. And guys, we need your reaction. Trust me, I'm a Ukrainian, and it always starts as a hybrid war that is difficult to prove, but too many coincidences. So I do hope that NATO patron will come to these waters, and finally people will understand that the only way to stop this war is to defeat and demilitarize Russia. And that is exactly what we are doing when destroying, for example, their drone hubs. There are lots of drone arsenals, maintenance facilities close to the front lines. You know that drones perhaps is one of the main instruments in this war, and Russians test drones on Ukrainian civilians. They do lots of war crimes, for example, in Kherson, when they chase civilian people with drones, training their military. So whenever I learn about the destruction of another drone hub, I thank God. And this week, I had a lot of gratitude in my heart because, first of all, we have neutralized with Ukrainian drones a big maintenance facility in Yelabuga in Tatarstan, which one day can become independent from the Kremlin. But right now, this country is used as a military platform for various developments by the Kremlin. So we've destroyed a storage of engines and cameras and GPS navigation devices and various Shaheds details. Actually, that is equal to 400 Shaheds, and Russia lost $16 million with just one Ukrainian special military operation. And it also continued in Oryol region, where we targeted another drone hub, and I have it on the list in Rostov region, which is beautiful and important, and I'm actually happy that I have to make a list of Russian drone hubs destroyed by Ukraine in just 1 week. Subscribe to see more, and please share these videos on your social media platforms to help us fight against Russian disinformation. That is actually very important. And Russia uses its disinformation, keeps lying and hopes that it can work. But not all of crimes, not all of lies can be accepted. And I'm really happy to see that the president of Azerbaijan does not accept Putin's fake apologies, where there were actually no apologies at all, about the very big crime that Russia committed against Azerbaijan Airlines when they targeted the plane above Grozny, Chechnya, another People's Republic that will become independent after the collapse of the Kremlin regime. But they decided not to let this aircraft land, which could actually save lots of lives. And they directed it to Kazakhstan, which resulted in more problems. Crew managed to land the airplane, and this destroyed Russia's plans to hide their brutal mistake, because they, as real evil, hope that the aircraft will collapse in the Caspian Sea, destroying all the evidence. But professional pilots managed to land the aircraft. 28 people survived, thank God. They are witnesses, and there is proof on the fuselage of the plane. It's actually not that difficult. And the president of Azerbaijan got really angry. Well, he has all the right. And he traveled to Moscow, decided to turn his aircraft back. Now, 2 days later, Putin said that he expresses his apologies, but there were no apologies, of course. They were blaming everyone but Russian air defense in professional air defense and not closed airspace. And the president of Azerbaijan did not accept it. Honestly, today, there were too many accidents with airplanes in different corners of the world. I feel very sorry for the people of South Korea, and a very awful air crash that happened today. Please accept my sympathy and condolences. And similar, minor accidents still happened in Canada, in Norway. Well, I don't know what to think, especially that all of that takes in the context of Azerbaijan plane tragedy and Russian interference into various NATO countries, because this is already happening. What they are doing in the Baltic Sea with their shadow fleet, with various, I don't know how to say it, unidentified ship with lots of spy equipment on them, destroying underwater cables, connection between Estonia, Finland. Guys, these are not minor things. Please don't let it become another area of escalation management. Please don't let your weak, frightened politician describe it as we don't know what that is, or I don't know, let's not escalate. When they destroy your infrastructure, you do not escalate. Is having this infrastructure an escalation? Because that's what they make others believe about Ukraine, that the survival of my country, our borders, official, our hospitals and school working, this is an escalation. No. This world will be in serious trouble as long as Russia is allowed to do whatever it wants and inspire other regimes like China, Iran, North Korea, and so on. But luckily, we keep fighting, we are very determined, and I have to confess, before the start of this war, I was fascinated with the way people live in the European Union, in the United States, in this positive way. I have never wanted to move out, but I was fascinated at how decisive, professional your politicians are, your military. But now, I'm sorry, I have the feeling that Ukraine is doing really well in comparison to many countries and armies who keep feeling frightened. And please don't let your politicians be so weak, because this weakness inspires people such as Putin or Kim Jong-un or Xi Jinping and so on. And this leads to more tragedies, more destructions, and more lost lives. Russia lost 800,000 people. They cannot hide it anymore. Even the mayor of Moscow had a very serious slip of the tongue about a number of soldiers that Russia needs to rehabilitate. And also this constant mobilization of 500,000 each year leads to questions. And now thousands of neutralized North Korean soldiers. This is also the result of our escalation management when we allow Putin be still considered a negotiable politician, but not a war criminal that must be caught as soon as possible. You know, he's afraid of the end of Gaddafi. That was one of the things that many believe inspired him to start the war against the West, let's be honest. But I think he knows something if he's afraid of that. It's not accidental. Maybe that is what will happen to him. Anyway, there are still people, even in the European Union, who pretend that Putin is a political leader, like Fico traveling to Moscow, which is definitely a very bad precedent. Because so far, even Orban was traveling to Moscow to negotiate peace and so on, and Fico simply came to beg for gas prices and then started blackmailing Ukraine with electricity. But this will not work out, because trust my Ukrainian experience, your energetic independence from Russia is the best gift you can give for yourself and your children. And Russia illustrates it's not going to change. And you know, many people believe that President Trump, after inauguration, will change everything really quickly. But Russia wants war, Russia needs war, and Putin and Lavrov and Medvedev, they all speak openly about that. And in his recent speech, this Minister of Foreign Attacks, Lavrov, kept repeating total BS, which undermines not just Ukrainian right for independence and sovereignty, but the world order and all the laws that helped this world survive for such a long period of time, until Russia decided that the West is weak and they can actually do whatever they want, because unpunished evil grows. Please subscribe to illustrate your solidarity with the people of Ukraine and all people who fight against this evil in Georgia, in Moldova, in Syria, in very many different parts of the world. And in this context of indecisiveness, you know, like escalation management, doubts and fears, I'm really glad that we keep developing Ukrainian weapons. And recently I've introduced you to our laser weapons, which will be able to stop not just Russian drones, but also aircraft. And that's very interesting and very modern. But also we are working on that Trembita missile, which is capable of reaching Moscow in case of emergency, you know, when we need to neutralize something really evil like Putin. Because I think that this attack on Christmas that they repeated, it's not the first year, targeting Kyiv, targeting Kherson, Kharkiv, many other Ukrainian cities, our electricity infrastructure, which is just another reminder that no negotiations are possible. Appeasement will not work, only full, complete defeat and demilitarization of Russia. And we are working on that together with our beautiful community. Today we celebrate 300,000 subscribers, and I'm very grateful for our strong, friendly community. You know, you're all friends and family. Please be careful of scammers that appear on different channels. It's not the phenomenon of ours, but unfortunately they can comment, they can invite you to chat on WhatsApp or Telegram. I never do that. I never write you emails asking for donations or something like that. Those of you who are longtime friends of the channel know that I can answer comments, but I never invite you to communicate on other platforms. And sure, I never ask for money. Whenever we have a campaign like NAFO campaign, I keep repeating that in every video, and I always leave links in the description or on the video. All the other cases are scammers, and please, please, please report them, because I always feel bad and worried. And the beautiful team of moderators works hard. I work hard myself to check the comments, but unfortunately this may happen, so please be careful. Follow me on official pages in Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky communities growing, and Discord. Once again, all the links you will find in the description of this video. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!